right, but let me double check. So that's what I said. So yeah, thanks for putting that link in our chat here.
For those of you watching the recording, Mark Thompson crashed our party, which is so cool. So I turned on the recording because he's just kind of filling us in and answering questions about the latest versions of Angular, and we're super stoked about it.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'm so glad to help. I love communities. I love people who care about teams and products and tools, and so it's great to be here with you all to just connect and understand how you're using the framework. One risk that any maintainer has is that you can get out of touch with your community over time, and you can just forget how people are using your tools. And it's important for us to stay connected to the community.
I had a comment for you. Was it? Yes. I want to share my screen real quick.
Sure.
Because I just wanted to share my feedback, but it's good feedback. You're gonna like it. This is so cool.
Oh,
And
great.
for anyone who has not seen this, I just want to show you one little thing. I'm gonna wait and make sure it's loading okay and everybody can see this. There's just one little feature that I want to, I don't know if y'all can, yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, can everybody see this? Look, I want to show you one thing that I was so delighted to find, this one little thing over here. There's like multiple different things that you can do, right? So you can do signals, you can do the control flow, the hello world. So this I really, really liked, because this is how I learn. I like to play with it and actually change things and see it live right there. I love this. It's like a stack blitz, but it's already got like, anyway, I just wanted to share that. Mark, I think you had something to do with that. And so I just wanted to say good job, because I just thought that was really cool. It's like a Code Academy. You remember Code Academy from, I think Code Academy is still there, but it's like Code Academy, but it's like, I love, because I've heard so many people say, I want to make a comprehensive Angular course, like for beginners. And people have asked me to make Angular courses for beginners. And I'm like, but Angular.dev is free.
Yep.
Like,
that's what I tell people. So
it's so good.
I led the learning journey. So like for our developer education, I lead our developer education primarily. Emma led the whole thing with Angular.dev. She was the lead on that project. So it was her idea to get that great, just in browser editor. You know what I mean?
Love that.
It's so good. And so I tell people as well, like people say, how can I start learning Angular? And I feel like for just starting, just use angular.dev/tutorials/learn_Angular. Just use that to start, because you can get pretty far before you're ready to jump into a deeper pool. And I think there is a space. And so we'll never be the definitive end-all be-all education source of Angular development. And I'll tell you why. We have such a broad spectrum and depth of knowledge in our community that we want you all to continue to make courses, because here's the thing that you have to remember, just as a kind of core idea. People learn in different formats and different styles. So it's a benefit for the community to have different places to learn from. So if we were like, okay, only we'll make the courses, nobody else make courses, that actually doesn't serve everybody, because there are some people who will learn in a different style than I teach, or a different style than Bonnie teaches, right? But it's great to have both. It's great to have resources out there that you can learn from in a way that serves you the best.
Absolutely. And the best way to learn is to teach.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anytime I have to write a blog or a video or write a tutorial for the website, I'm like, man, I spend so much time researching, because the one funny thing about being in a community where there are a lot of experts, people pay very close attention to what you say. So when I wrote the HTTP example, I had a bunch of people comment, you're using fetch? Where are you using fetch and not HTTP client? And I'm like, because I don't need it for this small example. But that just goes to show you how intensely people like pay attention to what we do. So
and criticize. They feel very free to criticize.
Yeah,
a lot.
Because they're passionate, right? Because nobody wants to feel like their knowledge or experience is invalidated by something we say. And so I try to keep that perspective, is that like when people are like really like, oh, this is wrong, or I don't like this, it's only because they really care about Angular and they really want to feel like, hey, I've been doing this, this way, it's been serving us. I don't want to feel wrong, and that's fine. I get it. You know what I mean? So I don't take it personally.
What I love about kind of just being a part of like being a GDE and having access to the Angular team and having the Angular team come and visit us and talk to us about what you're working on, because you guys are so open about the things that you're working on. I just love it because, can I say this gently? There are a lot of people out there using Angular not the right way. There's best practice. I mean, because what I see the most is, and this is one of the things that we talk about a lot in the, with dynamic stuff, is I see a lot of people just hard coding everything all over the place and having so much repetition. And Angular really allows you to write the most beautiful, elegant code so fast, and it's like so powerful. But it does take skill to like learn how to get out of the way and write that nice, clean code. And knowing Alex, knowing Jessica, knowing you, and being able to ask you guys questions and pay attention to how it should be done. There's a little art to it, but then
sure,
it's just really, you end up with really nice code.
Yeah, I agree. And there's like a lot for us to learn about how to communicate, because one thing that I've been very passionate about is updating the narrative around Angular in general. So we've had this like reputation of like, it's so hard to learn. And that's true. It had been hard to learn for a long time because we just talked about it, right? Like learning, you got to learn zones, then you got to learn RxJS, then you got to learn dependency injection, then you got to learn modules, then and there's just a lot of components that I feel like, yeah, there was a lot. But like now so one of my favorite parts about our new story is how we can finally put the pieces in place where they belong and are most effective. I think about RxJS as one of those pieces that Angular developers have been kind of forced to use RxJS to solve problems because it was the best tool they had, even if it wasn't the best fit for the problem. And now that we finally have state management that you can just do, like people ask me all the time, should I use a library for state? I'm like, well, see how far you can get.
And then which one? There are so many.
Yeah, but you don't even need to go there yet. See how far you can get with signals in the service. Just see. I'm not saying you don't need a state library, NGRX, NGXS, like Akita, like all those are fantastic tools. But first, see how far you can get with signals in the service. And now when you're dealing with asynchronous events, now RxJS reveals its true power. Yeah. Right? Like, it's,
and
like,
can we even say, especially if all you're doing is basic CRUD operations, you've got the create, read, update, delete, then you super should I mean, if you have like really complicated race conditions, if you're building an eBay or like an online auction place or something like that, where you really need to know exactly when things happen. But if you're just updating the database and getting and fetching, really, then you shouldn't need super complicated stuff.
No. And
most applications are fetching data, displaying it, updating it, and saving it back to the database.
That is probably like 80% of all applications right now is just some form of that. You got some data stored someplace and you have to retrieve it.
And you know what I think else, something that I saw that was really common when I was doing enterprise consulting is that when you get in big companies, sometimes the relationship and communication between the front end team and the back end team are maybe not that great. In big companies, then it takes a while to get anything changed on the back end, or they're having issues. And so when that happens, I feel like the front end, it's just so easy with state management to put all this business logic in the front end. And then it becomes this massive application when it wouldn't be a massive application if we were just keeping everything as a view and having all that business logic handled elsewhere. But it just gets crazy. So I think the more we have big stuff, the more we have architecture that really becomes important, because it's so easy for people to write 100,000 lines of code that they don't actually need, because it's faster than slowing down and understanding. So that's why I have this passion for teaching architecture. Like, stop writing all that code. You don't need all that.
Yeah. And I think that the work that you do is great, because architecture in general is just so I have a lot of feelings about this, but I'll just share one little snippet.
Tell us how you really feel.
So we've gone through a really interesting shift, and no offense to our younger viewers here, okay, but you all did not grow up in the era that I did and some of the more experienced developers here. And what I mean by that is this:
country when country wasn't cool.
Right, exactly. So when I first started computer science back in 1995, right? I know some of y'all are like, I wasn't even born yet. I know, exactly. When I first started computer science back then, you had to know so much about programming, and you had to like learn how to do everything, right? Like the full stack was actually full stack. Like you had to know how to write your joins, you had to know how to write tables, you had to know how to optimize on database. Then you also had to know how to do your server side stuff. Then you have to know how to do whatever client side. Back then, client side wasn't a real thing. But here's the thing: you had to learn about all these things and how to make concessions and compromises, etc. Born in 1995. Oh my God!
I know. I was thinking that too.
Don't say
Wow.
that. I was at the doctor the other day, and this guy goes like, "Oh, our birthdays are around the same time, but you're several years older than me." And I was like, "Damn! I mean, like, did you have to go that far, buddy? Like, relax." So anyway, so here's my whole point. Without drawing this out, nowadays there are so many like developers who don't have to just learn all that other stuff, so they skip architecture. I didn't get to skip architecture because at the time there were not like SaaS apps that kind of abstracted away the architecture. Here's a good example of that. Think about Firebase. That's a SaaS app that abstracts away a lot of the data architecture that you had to know before. All you need to know now is how to like design your collections properly, but you don't have to spend any time with managing race conditions around writes, mutex locks, nothing. You don't have to know any of that. You don't have to know primary keys. You don't have to know foreign keys. You don't have to know anything. You just say, I want to save it, and it's going to work. So that's why I think teaching architecture is so important now, Bonnie, because now we're getting to the point is that these expectations of users are so far beyond what they expected when I started writing web apps. Right? Like users want incredible things, like the fact that you can have Adobe Photoshop in the browser. When I first heard about that, my mind went to a time where that wasn't even feasible. It wasn't even feasible to do image editing or video editing in the browser. We didn't have the technology, we didn't have the APIs, we didn't have the support. So now architecture is making a comeback. It's my whole point, right? Like there's a time where you didn't need to know everything. Now I think architecture is making a comeback because user expectations are growing so rapidly.
And I think it's so easy to accidentally use Angular for years because I see this so much without really understanding the beauty. Perfect example, Mark, the view container ref.
Sure.
Do you know how many people are out there using Angular every day? They don't even know about the view container ref.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart, right? Because I'm like, it's so great. It's the coolest thing. That was the thing with the new control flow was I asked Alex, is the view container ref going away or changing? And he was like, no, it's staying. And I was like, okay, good, because we love the view container ref. And there are so many. Oh, speaking of cool things, listen,
Sure.
I have a note. Can I ask you a question?
You can.
I don't know.
You can ask me another one.
And anybody else has questions, raise your hand. But I have a question, Mark, just from the video that
Sure.
we watched, listen, can you tell us a little bit more about the event replay?
Event replay. Oh,
can you just
yes.
talk a little
Event
more about
replay.
this?
Yes. Event replay is super rad. This is functionality that has emerged from our collaboration with our internal framework, Wiz, right? Wiz is what powers some of your favorite Google web apps, right? It's really great at like killer performance. It's like killer. Okay. Event replay with JS Action allows you, so when you're doing the hydration step, right? Let's say you have a component that is not fully hydrated yet, and then the user goes to interact. They're like clicking buttons. Right before we introduce event replay, those events will be lost. So if you click and add to cart, or you're trying to like, do whatever, click whatever button, interact with the UI, those events will be lost. And now event replay says that now when that component, we're going to capture those events. When that component is finally ready for interaction, we can replay those events against that component. And then your application can respond as it normally would. Really fantastic, nice. Like magical stuff.
Is it in the docs yet? Is it updated in the docs? Is it available? Is it developer? It's, what did you say, experimental?
I think we might be in dev preview for event replay, but you can try it now.
Do you have a link anywhere where we can learn more about that?
Yeah,
or like a demo?
Yeah, I have a link where you can like learn about how it works for sure. And then I'm sure documentation is coming up rapidly. We've done a really good job of being more mindful about documentation, making sure that when we launch things, that, you know, we have
Thank you very
documentation.
much.
So there's a blog post describing everything, and then you should be able to link to angular.dev and find out more about it. We have a great search feature now, so you can just probably search event replay. I bet you if I try, let me try that before I say to do it, and then you all are like, Mark, you lied. Let me see. Let me event replay. Yeah, let's see what that does. I think that's right. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. All right. I'm sure there's some stuff in here about it. And if there's not, it'll be a fast follow, meaning it'll be there soon.
That's awesome.
Oh, you can also see some code examples on the Angular release blog that also has some code in it as well that you could probably get yourself started. And there's some great links in this blog too. Here, I want to put this in the chat too, just in case. Just in case. Yeah, but this has been really amazing how we've been able to share code between Wiz and Angular as we were working on this convergence plan. So like Wiz, they're using our signals implementation at YouTube, right? Which is great. It's just so rad. And we're getting event replay here, and we're going to continue to work together and share code and share things, and continue to build the best framework to let users build what they want to build.
I'm trying to remember the name of the guy because I wanted to invite this guy to come. What's the name? It starts with a J. The guy that's working on, huh?
Johnson.
Johnson, yes. Do you think he'll come and hang out with us?
If you ask him, yes. Just ask him.
Is he on Slack?
Oh, there's a chance that he is or is not. Cannot confirm, but I can do
Bye,
this
Dominic.
for you. Let's see. Bye, Dominic. Okay, let's see. There's Johnson's profile. Reach out to him and let me know if you need some help connecting with him. I can at least, help someone. Okay, I have a meeting right now. I got to go. I wish I had a job where I could like do a big event like today and then go like take the day off, but I have other work to do. So
thank you so much for crashing our party.
Rolling.
We love you. We love the work that you're doing. You guys are doing awesome. And you're always welcome. And I'll send you the link for Jessica next week in case you have time to join.
Yeah. And I'm glad to be promoted to second coolest Angular team member. I appreciate that. And I will take it. All right, friends. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you all and your hard work. We'll see you the next time.
Bye, Mark.
All right, bye.